Good morning, everyone. My name is Erin Kopek, and I'm the Marketing Director for Higher Level. And today you have joined our Workplace webinar series and have my friend Tom here with Harness Digital Marketing. And we're going to kind of collaborate and talk about branding, recruiting, and all of that fun stuff. That's a challenge. So just a couple housekeeping things before we get started. Everyone is in listen-only mode, although you do have the opportunity to pose your questions in the chat box, and we'll answer those the best we can. So a little bit about kind of what we're going to talk about today. So Tom, he has presented webinars for us over the past few years, and we continue to ask him back because the branding, the recruiting, all of that is becoming more relevant. And although it's a challenge to some, that's where we come in. So Tom Harness, again, he's the owner of Harness Digital Marketing here in Southern Illinois, and we'd love to have him every year. So Tom, thanks for joining us.
Well, thanks for having me. It is challenging, and in this world we use the buzzword like millennials, and we talk about different types of people. Where do we go to look for them? And one of the things I hear constantly as we work even regionally or outside of the area, how do I get good help? Where do I find? And my solution's always been, well, are you going to the same place? Are you fishing in the same pond every time? And one of the things that I've noticed with my recruiting process for our digital marketing company was we started to create a culture online that really blew my mind. It really brought people into us. Mm-hmm. And I got to tell you, it's cheaper to have people come to you than you having to go out to them.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So as we go through today's presentation of the A to Z's, we're going to approach this from two factors. The branding side, which is the business side, and then we're going to come from the other side, which is the recruiting side, which is what people are looking for. So it's going to be a little bit different. I do encourage you to post questions. I would love to be able to answer them, and at the end of this, we will also be able to have some time to go through. We're going to look at probably how we can give you content examples of what it would look like on social media. And that should be a good positive for you guys to have some actual content. So if you want to take some notes down, that's great. Obviously this is being recorded, so there'll be an option to replay this afterwards as well. So I'm going to get this started. Let's see if we got this here. Most of my stuff's hidden here. There we go. And we should be good. Let's load. Get it loaded back here. Hold on a second. We'll start it on the main screen. All right, so we have the A to Z of employee branding and recruiting. What we hope to accomplish during the presentation day is to help you understand promoting a company of culture, using your company culture to recruit top talents, maximizing social media platforms for recruiting, and embracing your employees' experience in social media platforms. The last two are crucial. There's so many times people are not being proactive with social media. They're being reactive, meaning they're going out looking and they're just posting and they want everybody to come there. We want to change the way you look at that. We want to make it truly social and engaging. Embracing your employees' experience, your best referral are your employees. And having them promote the culture in the business is crucial to your growth and for the perception, which we'll get to the letter P of our A to Z's here soon. But it's crucial for your perception in order to make sure that people understand what it really is truly like to work for your company. Whoops, I guess we're going to skip A. All right, so A is for ambitions. The branding side of that, the company side. I want you to think about this. What does your business believe in, right? Because on the other side, what recruiting, what people are looking for, they're wanting to see what you care about. Is it nonprofits? Is it veterans? Is it a women-owned business? Those are the things. So when they're going to social media and they're looking on LinkedIn or they're looking at individual peoples, they're wanting to know what you're kind of passionate about. What are ambitions? For many businesses, you have all kinds of employees that are involved in many different things. Rotary. I'm involved in Rotary. Everybody knows that my business is really about veterans. So that shows through in content. Anything you want to?
Yeah, one thing we do, which is really awesome with all 75 employees internally, is we allow them the time within working hours to share social media. So we don't restrict it. We think it's great for them to share photo opportunities that they have, either volunteering. We really promote, obviously, the women-owned business and conferences. So, hey, if we can have 75 people sharing our information, just imagine how many people that reaches.
You know, and on the flip side of that, because you guys do a great, amazing job of showing, you know, what you're ambitious about, at the same time, when you're owning that, like people might think that I only hire veterans or I only hire certain things. Do you ever get when you're marketing and branding out there for your company that it's only women that you, I mean, is it heavily women? Do you ever struggle with that?
Absolutely. Yeah, that's a question we actually get all the time. And I think our industry is, you know, kind of women focused, but because you know, they see women in the pictures, but we do have males work for us, and you know, we do love working for them. So I think it's all about perception and how you want to be perceived, and we try to show the best of both worlds.
And you know, it's okay to own that. It's not, you don't have to be wishy-washy. If that's what makes your company, your business that, then own it and stick with that. There's nothing wrong with that at all. All right, so let's jump to B. B is for behavior. So this is the questions you should ask from a branding from your business side. What is the company culture like? What are the expectations? Because on the other side of that, what the recruiting side, what people are looking for are the companies that feel they belong in. So digital has really opened up this culture of behavior. And what is it, you know, what does the company culture look like? It kind of, all this really ties together with all the letters, but what do they look like? You know, what is a day like here? What is it your business that has the expectations? Are you showing that you're very driven? Are you a business that is, we'll just say HR, if it's an HR business, are the expectations that you are going to be very strict? Is it very loose? Is it all those behaviors they're looking? Are you posting things, maybe it's a very loose company that might be something totally different, a shoe company, or my crazy suit company, Shinesty. They have a whole different, you know, their behavior is not probably HR friendly, but they own it and they keep going out there. However, when people, the recruiting side, when they're looking at that, what's happening is they're seeing, all right, is that a good fit for me? Is that company, when I'm going on that company's social media platforms, am I the right fit for that? Is my behavior gonna fit in there? Are they too, and then this is something, especially now, are they overly conservative? Are they liberal? I mean, all these things that we talk about, people are looking at because that's gonna affect whether or not they are a good fit or they wanna be a part of your business.
Absolutely. We really take pride in showing our company culture, and really we talk about, we train about it. We tried over the last 20 years, you know, we've grown, but I would say over the last few years, we've really focused on culture and good fits and portraying that to the community. And so that's something we definitely take pride in on our social media platforms. So.
You guys do a great job of that too. I always use you guys as an example. C is for communicate. Branding. How does the company interact and support themselves? This is internally. This means when we look at things online for social media, especially LinkedIn, how is the company, the employees, interacting with the company itself? Are they talking positive about it? Are they talking negative about it? You know, are they indifferent? Are they not supportive at all? Maybe they want to be supportive, but they don't know how. Those are all questions that go through, because the recruiting side, people are looking to connect and how they can best communicate. Before this, we were talking about different ways of communication, and that plays a huge role in who you hire, what you're looking for, and honestly, how long you think they'll stay there. Some people require a high level of communication. Some require different types. It might be verbal, it might be one-on-one. There's many different ways. But the culture and how you portray that online, again, helps them come to the realization, do I want to be a part of that company? Because at the end of the day, the beauty of this model of looking this way is you have people that are really already vetted. They're going through social media, vetting themselves to come in and say, I want to be a part of this company. You know, that's the beauty of this. And the communication, how you're going to interact with each other, is going to be huge in that. Anything else?
One thing that we have done lately is we've launched an intern program. Is really, we've noticed people drawing to us, specifically from SIU here in our Southern Illinois location. But it's really nice to say, it looks like an awesome fun environment. We really try to, you know, not only put the fun to the forefront, but also just different things that we do. So I think that's really helped our internship program, and we look to kind of use that to make us more marketable moving forward.
And you know, the other element to this communicate when you talk about internships, because we work really well with SIU. Almost all the people I've ever hired so far have been SIU graduates. They communicate differently. Mm-hmm. How many times do you get notified through Instagram or through Twitter or through Facebook Messenger about jobs? So they're communicating. So this C for communicate also means you need to be open to different types of ways to communicate. Yes, it's easier and manageable to kind of funnel them through one location, but you know what? People shouldn't be punished for that. They should, at the end of the day, you want them to come in and hopefully they vetted themselves and you can be able to see if it's a good fit for your company, because you get the final say. The business owner, the branding side gets the final say. D is for diversity. Who does your company hire? Recruiting. Do they look like me? Okay. This one, even though it might be a little touchy to talk about, is something that you have to really address online, because sometimes people think that their content they're putting out is just, let's just get this out, let's just market, let's brand ourselves. You really need to look at the overall picture. The diversity, what I want every one of you to do is to either audit, review your personal or even your business accounts. Could be Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. Just for the first time, go through the feed and look at it from different perspectives. And that's one of the goals that I want everybody to do at the end of this is look, diversity. Does the diversity fit the business model of the culture that you're creating? So if you go through the higher level feeds, do you see that you know it's very women-centered or it's women business owner? Do you see that? Do you see some of the other letters that we've talked about, the communicate? Do you see those things? Because we do live in a diverse culture. And when people are looking, they want to see, again, are they a good fit for the business? So do they hire African-American, Hispanic? Do they men, veterans? They're looking at that. Because from a veteran perspective, if I go through a business and I see that it's very veteran friendly, automatically my social anxiety goes down a lot. I'm like, these are people that I can connect with, that they're going to understand me. And that's what this diversity means about with content and what we put out there. Really portray your business the way you want it to be. But at the same time, when we get to the P for perception, we talk more about that, you are really sending a message to recruiters and to recruiting people that want to work at your business, what it looks like to be there. And again, I can't stress this enough. It's okay, own it. It's not like you're doing anything wrong. Don't feel like you have to change for something else, but own it. However, same time, if you're noticing, wow, we are diverse, but we're really not portraying that. Our content's not really saying that. Guess what? Then maybe you need to adjust your content.
Sure. Yeah, our workforce is, 90–80% women, and we are women-owned business. But although we do kind of fit the category for that, we also have diversity, and it is something that we've actually talked about. It's a topic that's coming up, and I know even as our clients are looking for a diverse workforce, us having a diverse workforce really helps meet the needs of our clients in the different positions, in the different areas, and the different opportunities. So it's definitely a new trending topic that we found.
And some of these letters of the alphabet that we talk about today, they're not meant to be controversial. They're meant to bring light to an area that, I want all the businesses to think about with their content. We do that. We're very conscientious about the content that goes out and how it portrays and how it's perceived by not only the community, the clients, but the people they're hiring. E is for enthusiasm. All right. Is the company exciting to work for? What people are looking for? They're looking for consistency and how people enjoy working at your company. Now, let's be honest. People don't always get a job or a career to have fun all the time. We would love to have that. And there's some cultures that are completely like that. Tom's Shoes comes to mind. And I'm sure everybody thinks that, Facebook and Google with the sleeping chairs and all that and the coffee bars and all that. However, when you're putting content out there, where is the enthusiasm? Is it real? Is the culture real? Is there a lot of excitement? Are you doing new things? Are you sharing new things that are going on? Those things really attribute to whether or not someone wants to be there, because what most people are wanting, I think everybody wants to be happy in their job every day.
Absolutely.
We are realistic when we're like, sometimes when you have to buckle down and work really, really, really hard, which we all do, it's not always a pretty sight. However, if you know that if you get through that and you have people or there's things and content going online on social platforms that show, hey, like right now, I can't imagine in Florida, there's a lot of businesses that are out. There has to be some passion and some enthusiasm to help get those people back on. So hopefully they're addressing that and they're getting needs and they're showing the team and teamwork of people trying to work together. Perfect example. But enthusiasm and building on that is so important.
I agree, and I think sometimes it's hard to find enthusiasm. Let's be honest. We're all busy. People's got their own priorities. So even sometimes internally here, when I go around with my camera or video, sometimes they run for me. But all in all, there are some people that do like it, and I think that's just part of it.
It's probably a good thing I don't work here because I wouldn't run away. I wouldn't run from your camera.
You would always be on it.
I would definitely be the one trying to come up with something new and creative. But enthusiasm, and you know what? This enthusiasm can be part of what you do to get people involved, to come up with some new content as well. All right, I read a lot about this one because I've always been interested in this topic. Free. What does the company offer its employees that is free? And then the recruiting side, people are looking for perks of the job, free coffee, parking, etc. So there's two philosophies on free. People don't typically work for companies to get free things. And when you give them free things, from a business owner perspective, usually, and I'm not saying all the time, they forget or they take for granted that a lot of things. Because as business owners or businesses, we don't go say, all right, here's your benefit package. And by the way, you get free coffee, you get free toilet paper, you get free this, you get free. Some things are just assumed. However, there are things that you can do that are free that don't cost necessarily the company money, and those are some things we're going to talk about later, but simply showing appreciation, saying thank you. Those things that are free, time. When you dedicate time to some of your employees or you show that online that you're taking a break and being something different, or if it is a free parking spot, that's great. My thing is, and this is my parenting that comes out, I don't believe in giving things for free because then I think people do take advantage of it. They forget about it. But I want them, people should earn things. I honestly believe that. I think that's a good old-fashioned way. And when content goes on, I would love to see that, you know, everybody worked together to raise money and they got, you know, that's great content to raise money for, you know, October's coming up for breast cancer awareness and it was donated. You know, they raised money and then they got like a half a day or they got an extra 30 minutes for lunch or something like that. But it's not something that happens all the time.
Sure.
And then it's not something that you always necessarily are expecting, because I like the free things that are not expected. You know, like all of a sudden, hey, I got coffee from someplace. You know,
Sure.
That's great.
Same here. We actually do a lot of that. We try to. It's part of our culture. A lot of it, some of it is expected with birthdays. We do cakes. But if, you know, some of our team members are, you know, having a great week, we will do lunch, or the managers will take them out to lunch. It's kind of like a surprise, great job. So I think it's not all about the free. It really is just taking the time to show appreciation too.
G is for goal. Does the company have a clear goal? What people are looking for is to buy into the company that has clear and executed goals. One of the things that when we work with businesses that I see, especially from a social media standpoint online, we don't really see where the company's going. What do they do? What are they, you know, I think sometimes there's, it's misinformed to think that, you know, social media is meant to highlight all the positives or the fun stuff or the enthusiasm or the free stuff. But really what I think is missing from a lot of content is goals. I mean, it's showing people that you're working towards something. You know, Higher Level has goals. Harness Digital Marketing has goals. Well, how are we getting them? We'll share that process. You know, share what you're doing to get there. Is it a photo of a team meeting and you're trying to do a SWOT analysis? It might not seem clear, but maybe on the board there's something really kind of, you know, eye-catching. Remember that social media is also about trying to show the perception of who you really are. I keep saying that word perception, but it's really true, because people, they're gonna buy into that. Again, all the stuff we're talking about, you want them to buy into it. But if you say our goal is to expand into 50 states, and we want you to be a part of that, you know, let that be known. You know, if we wanna be the best widget maker in America, then put that out there and stick with that, and other people will buy into that. The other thing that I put there at the end is execute. It's also, if you have those goals, it's important to show that you're reaching them. There's nothing worse than having these high expectations, no road plan, and no execution, because people are going to be excited. They're going to think they're going to be a part of something, and then they get into the business and they're stifled, and then they're misinformed, and their perception totally changes. So it's very important to have those goals clearly stated, clearly perceived and understood, and then how you're going to get there.
Yeah, and this goals really touches home for me this year. So in 2017, we really made it a goal to we made our goals a goal to talk more about them in meetings. Make sure not only the management team knows about those, but also all of our internal staff, because if they don't know what the goals are, how are we going to get there? So I think communicating those goals and talking about them is the key to success.
And the goal, with building off of what you just said, if you have them out there and for everybody to know, so guess what? The whole thing about social media is networking and really connecting. It could be very well possible that someone knows a person or someone has a connection when you openly put those or communicate those that can get you connected to help you get there. But if it's one of those best kept secrets that nobody knows about, then you can't, because we'll talk about in a little bit that your people are your best assets for recruiting. H is for happiness, and this kind of ties into the other one that we talked about, but does your business provide an environment that is positive or toxic? What does a real day, week, month, year look like at your business? This is so important because everybody wants to be in an environment that is positive. Now again, it can't be happy, and there's going to be confrontation, but I think part of this with happiness is how you deal with when things aren't happy, because again, people do want to have a real perception of what it is to work. And when you're online and with LinkedIn, and specifically LinkedIn, what do we typically do? We look for a job, we see who's associated there, who we have in common, and then what do? Hey, what's it like to work at this company? That's usually the number one question that's asked. What's it really like?
Absolutely.
Okay, so again, the more that you can match your perception or reality of your digital presence with the reality of your actual business, it makes it work hand in hand. Social media is not meant to basically fake people out or just try to get them to come in. If it doesn't match, I'm guessing you're a shoe person. You like shoes?
I like shoes.
Okay, so if you go online and you buy a pair of shoes you think you're getting, and then you get them and it's the wrong size and wrong color, what happens?
Not happy, and you return them.
And you return them. Perfect example. So make sure that when you're showing what the environment is, and it is important to be real about it. It could be a rough day. I think it's important to show what it really is to be. It would, to me, what a funny content would be for you guys is, because obviously it's fairly female, is to have this poor guy having to go around and wait on all of you, because I'm sure there's perceptions of what does a guy do that works here? What is it? So that would be funny. So you can play on that a little bit. There's many different things that you could do, but as long as it matches what your environment is, because again, nobody wants to work in a toxic environment. The other thing with this is you can learn a lot online through reviews. You can look at reviews of employees. You can look at reviews of clients. Those reviews really shed a huge light into the happiness of what that business is like. Now, it is one perception, meaning there's always two sides to every story. So just like if a business has a very high rating, sometimes that could be inflated. You still have to ask those questions when you go into interview. It could have a very low rating. Well, many businesses go through changes. For example, right now, Equifax, horrible experience they're having, their CEO stepped down. Obviously, they are going to have probably a lot of bad reviews, but it's tied to something specific. That doesn't necessarily mean moving forward after this, they make the fixes and they do things that they can't be a better company. But right now, they're getting bad reviews. So obviously, I'm going to guess that probably not too many people are going to want to apply for a job there. So those reviews are very huge into the happiness or the culture of the business. I is for influence. Are your employees influencers for your business? Do they drink the Kool-Aid? And I will come back to that in a second. What the people are looking for. They're searching and stalking employees to see what they say about your business. This ties in the other one. I've been accused, it's so funny, is because I've had people that want to hire people in the same area that we are. In fact, we usually interact a little bit that way too. But one of the things they always tell me is, what do you do to your employees to get them to drink the Kool-Aid? And I joke about that. And a lot of it is, I just try to create a culture, an environment that's open, that is something that I can buy into, that my team can buy into. but that's what you want. And I say the Kool-Aid, but you know, if everybody drinks the Kool-Aid, they're going to stay there and they go to bat for you. What you really want is for when someone applies for a job online or they know that there's an internal position, they're going out and sharing that content with the people. Hey, this would be perfect for you. Again, I can't imagine how recruiting has gotten harder if it's done correctly, because there's so many more opportunities and ways to reach out to people, you know, from your pajamas behind a desk almost. I mean, it's so hard. Do I still think you need to be out in the community? Yes, you need to go to those job fairs and you need to be specific with speaking and getting out there to specific businesses to hire and help them get hired. However, you've got to utilize those. The most underutilized social media platform, I will tell you right now, and I've said this many times, is engaging or having a acceptable use policy or a social media policy at your business to get your employees or your team to get behind the business, to encourage them to promote the business. But it's got to be genuine. It's got to be honest, and you can't go in and say, all right, today's post is we're going to have everybody send this out and this is what they're going to say. No, you can't do that. It really needs to speak from the heart, and you really need to get them to buy into that. Because again, people are going to search online. They're going to look at employees and ask, what's it really like? And should I apply for this job? They're going to be the ones that say that.
Yeah, one thing we do to influence our team is we do training the first week, and then week 4, week 6, we have kind of like a training schedule for branding and recruiting and social media and all that good stuff. So we have them fill out the policy, we provide them the tools and the ideas on where they find content, what type of items to post, and then we encourage them, of course, to use their own voice and opinions. So I think that keeps us going and really helps share a message with a company of 75 employees.
J is for job versus career. I've done many talks on this one. Does your business provide training and education to build careers or jobs? What people are looking for. They're looking for businesses, or what they're looking for. What is your business looking for? So what is it that you are wanting? Are you wanting a temporary person? Are you wanting someone to just fill a hot seat? Or are you looking for someone that they want to be a part of, grow in a business, and continue going on? The perfect example is what you just said with the education and training on the social media stuff. Your onboarding has to be very important to this job versus career thing. And I think when you put your social media out there, and it might be harder for the rest, like the restaurant industry, there's certain industries this is hard because they typically, it's known that they have a high turnover. So that's hard because it is more of a job than it is a career. But you know, many of the clients you work with, people are looking for careers. They're looking for something that they've started out here and they've gone on to bigger and better, or opportunities. I can't imagine most people looking for a job are just saying, hey, I want to do this job for 20, 30 years and retire. They want opportunities. So showing online through social media ways and jobs and careers and different things that people might not know that you have, that might actually be a position. Think of the jobs that are today that might not have been created 10, 15, 20 years ago. It's astonishing how many new positions have been created. So sometimes people don't even know what's out there. So some of those less known, those most unique positions, they might not be glamorous, they might not be very high paying. However, put them out there. Use that as a way to reach out to people, because I think what most people want is an opportunity to just get their foot in the door. I really believe that. Some people might say they want their foot in the door to be Mark Zuckerberg first thing, but sometimes I think people want their foot in the door to get an opportunity to do that. And it is about, is it a job or a career?
Sure. I agree. No, I think it's, you said it best. It's really taking a step back and, allowing yourself to start out with an opportunity and grow, learn, and then move up in your role. So I think that's really important, not only for the job seeker, but also for the employer to know.
How are we doing on time?
30 minutes.
Sweet. We're doing good. K is for kill with kindness. Are you modeling the behavior of the types of people you want to hire? Recruiting. What people are looking for is to be a part of something that is positive and makes a difference. They want to see what the heart of the business is. This is huge. So I'm former military, and we always talk about modeling the behavior. So if you're a leader, you need to model the expectations. So it always starts from the top down. But when you're posting, or you're having content online, are you modeling the behavior of what the types of people that you want? Perfect example, and I only use this just to not really pick on them, but my crazy suit guys, they are attracting a specific industry. Now, that industry isn't necessarily the one that higher level would want to hire, or Harness Digital Marketing, though if anybody would, it be me before you guys, or an accounting firm, or some of your big businesses. But are you modeling the behavior? This means the types of content. A great example right now with all the controversies that go on with content online right now. Are you engaging in that? Is your business engaging that? Because that's part of the behavior. Now, when we get into, last year with voting season, and I wrote a blog about that, is political posting. What does that do to your business? Again, it's the business owner's decision, the business's decision, final say, but those things affect the perception of the business. So if you're supporting something that's controversial and someone's going across your feed for your business, or they see employees, right, then what they're going to say is, well, I don't want to work for a place like that. Or they're going to say, I stand up, that's the kind of place I want to work for. Either way, you have to own it, and you have to be able to accept the repercussions or what's going to happen after that. I'm not here to tell you that it's right or wrong. I'm telling you that you've got to kill people with kindness, and that means to model the behavior that you want. And that content goes on. If you have fun days, or you have team building days, or you do something in the community, all those behaviors, those kindness things, that models the types of people and the behavior that you expect. If you post a lot of shenanigans, then when someone's coming in here, they're going to expect that this is a free-for-all. That doesn't work in a lot of business styles. Anything you wanted to add?
I don't think so. You said it.
It's about heart. It's about what your content really says at the core of what this business is about, what they believe in.
Yeah, just being authentic, I think, is the big thing.
L is for laughter. Does your business have a sense of humor? People want to smile, laugh, and see the business can be lighthearted. So the sense of humor, I talk about this with content because you have to be, content needs to be spaced out. So if you're posting 3 or 4 very in a row where it's all fun and games, well, the perception then would be it's very lighthearted, they probably don't have to work a lot, blah, 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 when the fact is that you don't see them working their butts off, which is what you need to see that too. So the laughter, when you put content out there, depends on the business, do you want to have humor? Can you post jokes? Can you do that? It really depends on the types of business. There's a lot of HR humor.
There is.
Lots.
There's a fine line, but yes.
But and that's the whole thing. There is a fine line. How far do you want to go? Is it funny? And not everybody might find it funny, but as a recruiting, as a person going through, if they see that that it's, again, the culture is a little bit lighthearted, that's great, but it has to fit your company culture. One of the ones that I guess the first thing that comes to my mind, but I have seen some kind of laughter things, content for it, would be like, my mind went blank for a second. Funeral homes. Mm-hmm. There's a fine line there. However, some of the funniest people I've ever met have been people in that industry. So again, thinking of the content, spacing it out. Again, at the end, you're supposed to go through and kind of audit your post for some of these letters to see what it really is saying. People want to see laughter. Please don't post bad, horrible, blurry images, horrible lighting, and people look miserable. That would be awful. But I have seen content that looks like that, like not, hey, let's take a team photo, and nobody knows. They're not filtering the kind, like, let's do it again, yeah. Everybody smile. But you have to be able to open up and get your team involved in that. Oh, did I miss one? I did. M is for mission. This kind of goes into goals. This goes back to my veteran days too, and almost any classes that I've had or any business that I've been a part of. What is the mission of the business? Recruiting, people want to see a clear mission for the company. What do they do? I mean, sometimes it's as simple as that. Mm-hmm. I don't know what our company does. What does our company do, right? I put this sentence because I want everybody to take some time to actually fill in the blank. We care deeply about blank. It's how we want to do business. When I was doing research for this, that's what came up, and I was like, you know what, I'm going to find a way to fit that in there. But I want you to think about that. We care deeply about blank. It's how we want to do business. Customers, it could be we care deeply about people's money, if it's an account. I mean, there's so many different things. But maybe have your own team fill this out, because you might find out that everybody individually cares about something different, But what would be really cool is if you posted that, even internally, maybe if you had a Facebook group just within your company or business, have them fill that out and see how many people say the same thing. If you're starting to see the same thing, that means that you guys have a clear mission. And that would be a great feeling. Or you might think that everybody else has the same mission idea, but you say it's something totally different. So it helps you drive what that mission statement is and what you're known for.
Yeah, I think having a mission is important, and that's one thing that we did as we rebranded about 1.5 years ago, is to really take a step back and what is our mission. We kind of have two sides of people that we help with recruiting and the businesses, and ours is all about helping people. So I think identifying your mission, it's kind of engaging your team as well. So
and post it online. Let people know what it is that you do. New ideas. Is the company evolving or focused on one thing? People want to see if a company is open to new ideas and employee engagement. Many people, and I don't want to overuse the word millennials, want to be a part of an organization. It's a different shift, but you have to be able to focus that and execute those ideas. But that's what people want. They're not coming into the industrial age where they just want to put, pull the widget on the belt and move it to the next one. They're literally, and sometimes they have great ideas. They have things that help you think outside the box, and they can help you create more revenue streams. So the in for new ideas is evolving and letting people online know what kind of new products, new services. You guys have new stuff that you put out there. What is it that you're doing? Because one of the things we get a lot is, and I know IT professionals get this too. Someone will go get a service for something else, and they'll come back and they'll say, we didn't know you did that. I mean, how many times have we heard from as business owners or managers, well, we didn't know you did that. Well, sometimes you can't share everything that you do because sometimes it encompasses a lot. You guys do provide a lot of services. We try to focus on 3 to 4 things, and we want to be known for that. But when you're in IT or certain businesses and industries that have all kinds of products, it gets a little bit harder to basically do that. But you can generate some new ideas online. Opportunity. What does your company offer its employees? People want to know if they can further their career at your company and grow. This is huge because when you look online and you see a business that has been in business maybe for 20, 30 years, and you've got people that have been there, if you go on LinkedIn, and they've been with that company the entire time, and there's no new positions, there's no promotion, everybody's been kind of in the same position. Looks great to most people for job security. However, on the flip side of that online, what it says is that, all right, is this company just happy with the status quo? Are they going anywhere? It also says if they create a new position, how long is that new position going to be there? Sure. So these are all questions that the people are going to be asking, especially on LinkedIn, of what your business has as far as opportunities.
Absolutely. One thing we actually do too, or we try to do for new hires, is give people an idea of their career path. And we've done a lot better a job of that as we identify that. And I think that just gives people more of a wide perspective on what could be.
Absolutely. People want opportunities. I don't believe anymore that somebody wants to, maybe teachers, there's some industries that want to stay in that for 20, 30 years, but a lot of them want to change a little bit. They want to have, but they want to grow within the company. All right. Here's the P for perception. What is the perception of your company versus the reality? People want to truly believe what they see or hear about your company. So I could spend a whole session on perception on social media and reality, but here it is in a nutshell. You need to match those two together. And the people that are going to do that are your content writers that actually put out your content across platforms that's consistent for your brand and your business. But they are also going to be looking at those employees. They're going to look at past. They're going to look at present to try to truly see what your perception is. That's why it's so important to have some sort of social media policy or plan to positively engage your employees and team to be involved in your social media platforms. It is so important because they are your soldiers. I know, horrible, I keep going back to military references, but they are your soldiers, your foot soldiers. When somebody says something or something is perceived wrong or a bad review goes out there, people, you want them to go to your defense and support you and say, that's just not real, in a professional way. The perception of the company right now can make or break, online can make or break a business. If you don't have a social media presence online, that's going to kill you. It goes back to the same day when people were like, yeah, I don't need a website. And now guess what? Everybody wants a website. They don't always know why they want a website, but they want a website. We're in the same industry with the social media, and every company is going to have it. If you don't, your competition might, but it's the perception. And the perception is, if you know your competition, you can literally shape that perception as long as it matches your business culture and goals and mission to basically separate yourself online from those competitors. Because, what are people looking for? Maybe they're going to your competitor online and hiring and they're getting jobs there, but you're finding out they're leaving pretty quick. Well, it's not meant to basically capitalize on. It's an observation of, well, these people are going to this company, they're leaving, but why? Well, it could be any of these factors of the alphabet we've talked about so far. And if they see that you are doing the complete opposite and the perception is totally different and people love their job and they want, if anything, they're going to come over and ask if you have an opening. And again, you want people coming to you. The whole part of the whole digital concept is it's easier when you don't have to spend money to market and go out, which I love. Feel free to market. I love it all day. But at the end of the day, I would love for more people to just go and do their research and apply and make your job and make your companies, your employees' jobs much easier.
I agree with that. I think you hit the nail on the head. Perception is everything. And if you think people are not going out and looking at your social media, your team member social media, your reviews, you're just kidding yourself. So definitely pay attention.
Q is for question. What is your company's structure and culture? Is it open to change and questioning? People are looking for companies that they can have and take ownership in. You kind of alluded to this earlier about ownership. Question doesn't mean question authority. Question means, am I openly able to go into a business and ask questions? That is huge anymore as well. I use the word huge a lot, but they're so important. The question is different for everybody. And I think the path to a great business is asking or knowing how to ask the right questions. The philosophy and the statement that there's no stupid question, I do believe in that to a lot of extent, because it's the path of the questioning that helps us get to where we want to go. And we're very naive if we think that we know all the answers, or anybody does. That's how our team works. We always work together as a team to do more content. We want to come up with something fresh and new. We start with one idea, we build it, we try to bring it back in. But if you can create a culture online where it looks like everybody has ownership and it's openly and free and you can voice your opinions and ideas, that's great. Just remember, the business side of this is that there's still one person that makes the decisions. Just because you're getting this input doesn't necessarily mean you have to use it all. I think that's what a lot of business owners fear. It's like, well, now I got to use it. Well, you can't ask for it all the time and not implement or try to find some way to bring it in, but you have to make the final decision. But it needs to be clear that those decisions need to be basically based on input from everybody for the best interest, because, it's important. And I actually think that the whole online and the questioning part, it makes people fear that they're going to lose their jobs, like someone knows more than them. And I think that's a bad perception, because it needs to be more of an open, we're all here together, and it shouldn't be that way. But I actually think that's one reason why questioning in a business culture is probably out. It's not as embraced as much as it used to be, because people are afraid that, well, hey, that guy's got a great idea, let's just move him, when I don't think that's necessarily the truth.
Yeah, I agree with that. We really encourage questions because I think we all learn from asking each other the questions and challenging each other. And so really the most successful people within our company are the people asking questions and why and what about this. So and it also goes to change. Mm-hmm. And change is hard for a lot of people. Yes.
Recognition. How does your company acknowledge its employees? People want to be and feel appreciated through their commitment and dedication to your company. You talked about birthdays and celebrating people's birthdays. I think that's huge. I feel horrible. I'm going to admit this too. Matt Carnegie, who's been my business development guy, my mustache guy for 3 years, we just had his own. We didn't realize it. So, for the first time, we acknowledged that, I think publicly after 3 years, that he's been with us for 3 years. He's the longest employee that I've had out of the 4 years that I've been in business. So I failed at the recognition part, so I feel horrible about that. However, it makes me more conscious about making sure that we recognize. And a lot of it, again, it's a simple thank you. I always try to tell my team at the end of the day when they leave, thank you for everything. I hope you guys, have a good weekend. I think it's those small recognition, taking time makes a difference. Storytelling. This is hard for a lot of businesses, but I love it because sometimes we know the story. Ben and Jerry, we know the story. Your company needs to have a story, and telling a great story will have people connect with you. Teresa's story is really great. I remember Teresa in her little building in West Frankfort, Johnson City. Yeah. I remember when she was in this little building, and it doesn't seem that long ago. It's been a while, and now her company, her and her husband, they've expanded. They're in how many states now?
6 states.
Yeah.
8 locations. And
all started from this little Johnson City building. It was right. Yeah. It used to be a Dairy Queen. It was right across from Dairy Queen. Right across.
Yes.
The stories are great, and narrating that story is even better. And I think that we all need to have a story to tell that. Do you think you guys have a clear story?
Absolutely. Yeah, we've actually built a story of how the company was started and why into our orientations and onboarding. So it's.
Do you translate that online? Do you think people out there know your story?
Probably not as well as we probably could, because I think a lot of people find it fascinating and really surprised, and they don't know the story. So I think that's something we could definitely improve upon for sure.
Trust. Do you trust your employees? People want to make their own mistakes and be trusted to succeed. I've read a lot on leadership lately on trust and how it's earned and what it looks like. And people want to take ownership, but ownership doesn't mean that they want to lose it. So when you're posting content or you're online, people should be able to say that they've made accomplishments and they've done this. And it should be successes, and I hate failures, but learning opportunities. So when there's content that's going on online, if something, they lose a big contract or they lose something, turn it into a solution. You don't have to say, hey, we lost X company's contract today, but you can say, hey, one of the things when you're in an industry like we have, things happen. And even though we might have lost, or we've lost a big contract, or we had a setback, these are the things that we're going to do. Because what people want to know, this trust goes with customer service too. They don't want to know when things go right, what you're doing. They want to know what you're doing when things go bad. And this trust is, do you trust your employees to make the right decisions of posting online? Do you have policies in there? The best part is not having to micromanage the trust. Because when you have to do that, you lose a little bit of that freedom to make mistakes. And honestly, all the great Sam Walton, I could go down the list, Steve Jobs, all made huge mistakes, but those mistakes turned into opportunities and they turned into learning experiences. So I think on both sides of this, people and businesses need to understand what trust looks like. Unique. Love this one. What makes your business unique? People want to work for places that stand out and stand for something. Is it veteran friendly? Does their boss wear crazy suits? Is their boss, a very it's hard for me because I always think of your business being primarily, especially in the Marion office, all Cardinals fans. And me being a Cubs fan, it always makes me nervous to walk in this building. I joke about that. But you guys have done a great job not only online of showing how you guys go to the team and all that you go to the sports, the games, but you also talk about it in here. So again, the storytelling of just that component of what it is here. Do you have Cubs fans here?
We do. We have a couple that we actually allow in, but
that you allow.
It's kind of a joke and a rival, of course, but it's all fun and games.
But take some time and ask your team and employees what makes it unique, because again, that ties into all the perception, the fun. What makes it unique and different? Voice. This is very hard for a lot of companies, and companies to have a voice online means that it has its own personification, and that's just a fancy word for giving an inanimate object kind of a voice or being able to connect with it. You want to have that Bugs Bunny kind of voice where when you see content or you hear a voice or you hear a song, you know right away who that is. When you write content, people know that. It's expected. I think with recruiting, this is how you format your content. I think this is, if you're consistent with it and you vary it a little bit so it stands out, I think when you're recruiting and looking for the right types of people, be consistent so when that post comes through, they kind of just stop and they're like, oh, this is a job posting. Oh, this is this. Those things help. What matters most to your business? People are looking for businesses that are people and employee focused. What I don't like to see online with content is where if it's all the boss or it's all the employees, what you want to see is a mix of content for recruiting, because then what it looks like, the perception online is there's a separation.
Yeah.
right? You want to see what the team looks like. You want to see the content of the team. And then you want to see what matters most to that business. And to me, the answer, there's only one. What matters most to your business is your team and employees, right? Because without them, you can't get clients, you can't do the services. So if it's clear that that's what is most important to the business, that is great. Yes, you have causes, and yes, you have other things, but it's the employee and people relationship, that perception. And sometimes when it's almost kind of funny when I go through and look at content feeds, you see a clear distinction where it's really heavy employee owner business. Look at me, which I'm very conscious about because my team knows I don't want a lot of that. On the other side, all it is employees, and you don't see how they work together. You don't see that interaction. Social media can be great for team building too. I mean, how many times have you gone around? I know you have to pull strings sometimes, but after they do it, you have a little fun with it, right?
It is, yeah. I think we really use the part of engaging. I'll send out a message and say, meet upstairs in 1 hour. We're going to do a quick video, and we'll see who shows up. And I really do think it's you just make it fun.
All right, I had to reach for this one. All right, Xanadu is a fictional place, right? So what does your company do to be the place to work at? When I say the place, we all have kind of in our minds, I think, of the mythical business. Oh my God, I would love to get a job at X place. That's why I said X for Xanadu. People are searching for the mythical place to work. Yes, it probably includes benefits and pay and all that, but a lot of times it is, oh, I would love to get a job at blank. And a lot of times it's, it's hospitals, it's schools, it's Fortune 500 companies. For the longest time, before I started my company, I would love to have worked at Apple for or with Steve Jobs. I mean, that would be awesome. Did you have a place that one day you're like, when you were younger, like, I want to work for this?
I feel like, and this is probably a kind of a cliche answer, but Google. I hear gym services, laundry, free meals. I mean, who wouldn't want that, right? Yeah.
So I think it's great to have those, and I think that it's great for people that are recruiting or looking for those positions to have those dreams to get there. But a lot of times we forget that a lot of the companies that we work for that are not that company help us get to there. We need to look at that roadmap to see where the place to be. Where is Google? Where is Apple hiring from? Are they hiring directly through another company? So sometimes looking at the big picture is great, and I think that's something you guys could do really well at too. If someone came in and said, my goal is to get here, you could say, we got this position here, this could probably help you get this experience, and then you could go here, because you kind of look at it as a career path.
Oh, absolutely.
Yo-yo, what does your company do to showcase long-term employees? Does your business have high turnover? People are looking for businesses that do not have high turnover. It's hard when you get that perception of nobody works there long, okay? And I'm going to use me as an example. 4 years in, when I recruit, I ask one of the major questions: what is your goal at working with Harness Digital Marketing? And most recently, one of our amazing employees said, I want to work in the city. I want to work for a bigger firm. Okay, that's great. I like the honesty, because I usually say, I'll help you get there. Our newest employee, Anna, and I'm going to botch this, and if she's listening, I'm in trouble. She came in when I asked her that question. She's real big into purses, and there's some line of purse. She said, I would love to work for this purse company to do marketing someday. I'm like, don't know what it is, but let's see what we can do to get you experience. So it was interesting, because I actually had someone message me, oh, I'm so sorry about your high turnover. And I'm like, I don't have high turnover. But the perception was, because I showcase and I showcase all that online, that people thought I had high turnover. The reason I share that experience is because if one person thought that, that means there's probably more than likely one. Now, am I going to change anything? No. Am I going to have to be conscious of that as I post? Yes. But honestly, in my industry with digital marketing, we have so many new things. I really would like to have someone, obviously, who doesn't want the long-term employee. But honestly, with the way things change, I'm happy of getting 1 to 2 years out of employee, because I continually get fresh ideas, new things. But that model works for me. It doesn't always work for many business models. So the yo-yo, what does it look like online? If you are a huge company and you're celebrating someone getting a new job, or you're showing that you're hiring all the time, you need to be aware of that perception, because you guys post stuff, but it's not always necessarily internally. Plus, you're always expanding.
Got it. Yeah. So it's kind of a double-edged sword, and we've definitely dealt with that. And I think a lot of businesses, I mean, turnover is turnover, but also showcasing, it could be good turnover, or growing, or promoting. So I think great point, and it's something that we should definitely focus on more as well.
Just be conscious of it, and again, own the content, own it. If you're seeing if that wasn't your goal, then maybe you need to adjust the content or find a way to deliver what your message is a little bit differently. Z, we're just going to end with this one because we kind of talked Zodiac. Do you know your employees? What are their birthdays, anniversaries? I think it's a disconnect because, again, sometimes the bosses and managers and team members and employees, some of them only know each other online through social media, which is good and bad, right? Because most of us like to post who we are online, but at the same time, are we really getting to know our individual people? So celebrate that, let the company know that the employees, the team members are valued. And it doesn't have to be a birthday cake all the time, and it doesn't have to be free stuff all the time. Again, I go back to sometimes it's just, hey, how's it going? And if you do follow their social media, and for the employees and the team that you have, and they go on vacation, you can come back, and when you see them, you can say, hey, I saw you went on vacation. How was that vacation? When I see you post your dog photos.
Yeah. So
I always forget, but I always want to know, what goofiness, how's your dog, what's your dog's name?
Sterling and Zeppelin.
Sterling, oh, you got two, Sterling and Zeppelin. So it's really good to utilize social media to find ways to connect, but not just to be kind of, to literally use that content to create engagement, to create that communication and that conversation that you can have. So we got time for questions. I don't know if we have any. I'd love to hear.
Yeah.
So if you have some, give us some feedback on this. Was literally doing A to Z too long? Was it beneficial? Do you understand the concept we were going with the business branding to the recruiting side of this? Were there some tips? Were there some content in here that you liked, that you didn't like? I always love feedback because I try to reuse some of these and update and tweak the presentations. Plus, I always want to deliver the best content for my friends at higher levels. So. Any questions?
No questions yet. Don't forget that the question box at the bottom of your GoToWebinar toolbar, that's where you can type the questions out. So feel free to do that now if anyone has questions.
And we are going to try to also make this available to sign up. So we'll have a link, hopefully, if you like the presentation and you wanted to share it with some other people within your company or some other businesses. We're going to work on getting that so that you can sign up and get that shipped off to you to be shared. And if you do have questions, we do have the Facebook event page that is co-hosted by Higher Level and Harness Digital Marketing. Feel free to post questions in there. And if something does pop up after you watch this, or the slides, we'll make those available to you. Just let us know. We are available. And I hope that you go through your business social media feed and look at it a little bit differently as this A to Z of employer branding and recruiting helped you out.
Absolutely. We have a great information and a thanks from Jessica. Thank you for tuning in, Jessica.
Thank you, Jessica. I hope you appreciate the material. Again, if you have questions, just let us know. I'm happy to help.
Everyone's kind of quiet today.
They're quiet. So I guess we nailed it.
We did.
I'll take that. High five.
No questions.
No.
We covered it all.
No. You probably will, but I do want feedback, and you can give those to Higher Level, to myself inside there. We do want to make this better. These webinars are meant to be beneficial and not a waste of people's time. We want to give them value. And if you do have questions about any of this, I can't say that enough, please post, please ask. There are no stupid questions. Just ask. I'll be happy to answer.
Please do. And if you have, if you in the webinar and you do have questions, feel free to, you can email me at hello@higherlevel.com, and we can always answer your calls offline or your questions, and be happy to touch base with you after. So.
And everybody have a great day.
All right. Thank you.